Hello and welcome to the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome again to the program.
Thank you.
First meeting of the year to talk about. We've got some official business that happened that we'll tell you about. Also an opportunity that isn't taken very often at the city, this opportunity for the public to speak during open session, and we have some topics there.
Yes.
And also a lot going on in the city as we head into January and February, so we give you some of those notes in a second. Let's talk about the meeting from the 7th first. Yep. And again, always at the beginning of the year, a lot of official business that has to take place. So tell us about some of the special guests and also some of that official business.
Yeah, so we always try to kick off the council year with a couple of special things at the first meeting. We have the presentation of the colors by a Cub Scout pack. So this was Maple Grove Cub Scout Pack 211, so it was fun to have them there. They're leaders, and there was probably about 10-15 Cub Scouts there. They come a little bit early, have an opportunity to meet with the mayor and talk about his role at the city and the work that the city does. So that's always kind of a fun event, and you can always tell, how hard they've practiced and memorized, who's doing what. So it's really fun, and we appreciate them coming out to help us out. And then we have an invocation. We kind of rotate this amongst the faith community in Maple Grove, and so Father Mike Sullivan of St. Joseph the Worker was with us to provide an invocation at the opening year
Wonderful.
Here. And then we did the oaths of office. So of course the mayor was reelected, and then Councilmember Karen Jager and Councilmember Phil Leith. And so they were all sworn into office for their next 4-year term, and I think it was referenced between the three of them nearly 60 years of service to the city. So really remarkable, and I think accounts for kind of the stability here in Maple Grove and of that leadership. So congratulations to all of them, and we look forward to another 4 years here with their leadership and that of Councilmember Hanson and Councilmember Barnett.
And then part of that process too is assigning them to some boards, commissions, and liaisons. So you look at the council meeting, you think, well, that's all they do is just go to the council meetings. Not so, is it? There's many other areas that they're involved in and really keep a pulse on the community. Yeah, it's I always tell them as newly elected officials, or when we have new folks, we can fill your day with city business or city activities and meetings, organizations to be involved with. So they kind of have to pick and choose with what they can afford to do, because they're also employed full-time or generally employed full-time in their private lives. So it is a full calendar and lots of events for them to attend. One other piece is that the mayor and council always take an opportunity to just provide some comments on the state of the city. We are working on planning a more formal State of the City event later in February, but this is a nice opportunity. So, really focused on kind of some of the, the accomplishments of this past year, and also focused on the future and the continued growth of the community and growth of our, not only our business community, but also, residential, as well as some of our amenities that we're adding to the community. So very positive outlook for Maple Grove, and I think everybody's real hopeful for 2019. Wonderful. That was about 15 minutes worth of time in the meeting, so if you want to go back and look at the meeting, you can hear a little bit of that commentary from the different people on the council and the mayor as well. Consent agenda, let's cover a few items there. There was one item pulled, and that was the contribution to the Arts Center.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this would be the 3rd year, I believe, the city has been providing a contribution to the Maple Grove Arts Center to help with their the facility costs where they are over at the fountains. Years ago, the city had been making a contribution to the Arts Center on an annual basis, and then kind of during the downturn of the economy, the recession, that kind of scaled back, and so they had come to us probably 3 years ago asking to reinstate that, and so the council did so. So there was just some discussion about the process, for coming to the city to request a contribution. How do we process that? Are others able to do that? I think at the end, the agreement was, yes, we need to have more discussion about this, and certainly it relates to the broader discussion about the arts community and an arts facility, which was in front of the council on December 17th. So I think it'll get rolled into that broader discussion. But at the end, that contribution was approved, but you'll hear more on this one.
Very good.
Yep.
And one item to touch on from the consent agenda that was approved with the rest was a big concert coming up in September, and we've talked about this for a while. There were some thoughts about this, maybe doing something with the Super Bowl in the past, but now it's coming back, and it looks like it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, so we're planning for kind of the first big outdoor concert at Central Park. That park was built with these kinds of events in mind, kind of the Great Lawn area there. So this event will be September 14th, so kind of at the end of summer, getting into the fall season. Outdoor concert ticketed event, so there will be a cost for attendance to this event. We're working with Sue McLean Associates. She's an event production professional. She does all the music at the zoo, a lot of the different concert venues around the metro area. She's worked with the city of Plymouth on the Holiday Center, so a lot of experience producing really quality, well-run events. So that's really what we were targeting here. Hoping to have a pretty good name. We don't know what that is yet.
Nothing to announce yet,
Nothing to announce, but the council was committed to, if we're going to do this, we want to make sure that it's a really well-run event and with a name that attracts some attention from the entire Northwest Metro. A couple of partners on this one. The Maple Grove Lions Club have contributed upfront dollars, as well as Northwest Tourism. So I think both organizations see that this is an opportunity to bring people to Maple Grove and provide a great event, support local business, that kind of a thing. So,
all right, we'll keep you up to date as more comes available. We mentioned at the beginning of the program the open forum opportunity that normally happens at council meetings, and there might be one on occasion that comes up, but I think there was a little planning behind the scenes for some people to come and make a presentation about something we've been talking about. So tell us about the open forum audience that came and what they had to say.
Yeah, so this was related to the I-94 unbonded overlay project that we've been talking about, where some work's going to be done out on I-94, construction of the Brockton interchange, now called the Dayton Parkway interchange, and some added capacity up there around the 610 corridor. One of the things that happens when you have a project on a federal highway system is there's a process to determine the placement of noise walls along and through that corridor. And so a lot of work has been done probably over the last 9 months or so by MnDOT to do that analysis of the warrants for noise walls. There's a really kind of a very specific technical process that takes place to measure what the current noise is, and then they determine based on the improvements that are being done, what might happen with those noise volumes. So number of public meetings have taken place. MnDOT has held those meetings, and residents have been involved in those meetings. We're invited to attend, and so what's happening now is there's basically 4 walls that are being recommended through Maple Grove along the I-94 corridor. In most circumstances, in 3 of the situations, how the voting will occur is that the residents really have the majority of the votes, and so that vote will rest with the residents, and they'll get to decide whether they want that wall there or not. One of the walls kind of on the south end of Rice Lake, the city will have the control of the votes. And primarily due to a couple factors. One is that the trail the wall is along the trail, so city as owner of the trail, we would have some voting rights there. In addition, the city's senior housing facility, Woodland Mounds, is within proximity there, and so because of ownership of that, we have some voting authority there. So the vote on that south wall rests with the city, and I think there's a constituency out there that wants to make sure that that wall goes in, and so there's a lot of lobbying and emails going on to the city council and mayor to try to convince them about how the city might vote on that southern wall. So this is a process that will come before the council late February, early March. More formally, we have a couple considerations on this I-94 project. We need to approve kind of the layout of those improvements, as well as provide municipal consent to the project, and then this noise wall piece is kind of moving at a parallel process, and the council will need to vote on that. One of the pieces is we have the opportunity to kind of see voting takes place over a period of time by those that are within the impacted area. They have an official vote, and so the city will have the opportunity to kind of see how the residents have voted and understand that as we go forward. But I think there's just a lot of interest in this one, and so the group kind of decided to come forward. But this will be formally in front of the council in the coming weeks.
Very good. We will keep you up to date on that. That was about a 35-minute discussion at the meeting, so again, a lot of thought put into that. The one public hearing at the meeting was the Cook Lake Maple Grove City project, and this is something that we've talked about before. It's kind of the growth of that southwest corner of the city. What is happening here?
Yeah, so this is at the northwest corner of 101 Bass Lake Road, just kind of south and west of Lord of Life Church here. This is the Cook Lake Maple Grove project. So this is a residential, about 42 lots, small lot, single single-family residential. This would be the public hearing to construct the improvements to provide for that project. So this gets that process underway, and probably look to see some construction this summer on that one.
Okay.
Yep.
Then to staff reports, and the one report from Community Development came from a person that's done some great work for the city, but is ending his interim role.
Yes.
Why is that happening? We have a new person coming.
We do. So we have kind of completed our process of hiring a new Director of Community and Economic Development, and that's Joe Hogaboom. He'll be joining us here next week, January 16th on Wednesday, so you'll see him at the next City Council meeting. Eric Zwaber with the consulting firm WSB has been serving in an interim role there for us for the last, well, since the end of May when Dick Edwards retired. And so Eric will be wrapping up his official work as interim community development director. Likely looking to maybe continue them a little bit just to wrap up some key projects that they've been working on. We got to get the comp plan completely finished up and shipped off to Met Council, and just a couple other bigger, more complex development projects that we want to see through. So Joe will be joining us next week. Eric will be kind of transitioning out, so really appreciate Eric's service. He, kind of came in and had to hit the ground running and got up to speed really quick. But that's kind of what they do. They step in at cities and help them out for an interim period, and so they kind of get used to having to do that quick turn. So we appreciate Eric's service, and we're really looking forward to getting Joe on board next week.
But before he left, he had things to say about what's coming up, because the plate is still full for Joe to come in and take over. Tell us about some of those items that were coming up on the next step of the process here. Yeah,
so Park 81 has come in for an amendment to their concept plan and development plan for one of the buildings. If you'll recall, this is the old Wells Concrete site just off of County Road 81 up there. They wanted to make some changes to one of the building footprints and whatnot, so that'll be coming forward to the council for discussion. Rush Creek Apartments, this is back out at the 101 Bass Lake Road area. It's at the southwest corner. There had been an apartment project approved there. They kind of took a pause, and they're coming back with quite a few less units out there, and maybe a little change to that, kind of how those units are structured. So we'll see that one come forward. Christian Brothers Automotive is a project up off of Zachary Lane, and then the Hindu Temple is looking to do some solar, and there's some floodway impacts up there, and so they're looking at that. So that'll be in front of the council in the coming weeks.
Good. So that's what's coming up in the world of community development. We mentioned Public Works a little earlier with the noise wall on I-94, and again, that process moving along. But as always, 610 comes up in discussion on transportation. Important date coming up for that project?
Yeah, so here in January, the Met Council will be considering kind of the final approvals for the next round of funding. So STP, Surface Transportation Program funding, it's federal dollars that flow down through Met Council for transportation projects in the state. There's two funding scenarios going forward to the Met Council, to the board for consideration in both situations. The 610 completion project is funded. It's a $7 million number. The project costs a lot more than that, but we really see this as the ball roller. And in a lot of situations with projects like these, this STP money is kind of the first money in and really gets the ball rolling. So we're hopeful that there won't be a lot of tweaking at the final decision of the Met Council, and we'll see that funding come through. It is for the time frame of 2022 to 2023. The city always has the opportunity to sort of advance construct that and then get reimbursed for those dollars when that time frame comes along. And we have a bit more work to do on that design. There's a shelf life to those designs. You don't want to get too far out ahead of that. But this is really helpful as we head into the the 2019 legislative session here and start to think about how we put together the rest of that funding. So that is really good news. Just want to acknowledge Ken Ashfeld has served on the Transportation Advisory Committee at Met Council, which is a step in this process of determining funding down there. And it's no small time commitment, and that's in addition to everything else Ken does. And so really want to thank him for his service here. He's really helped us to kind of really understand the process and the decision, what a good application really looks like. And and I think has been an integral part of that committee's work. So thanks to Ken, and we'll stay tuned here for what the final action is in January.
Very good. We
Yep.
will update you in February on that. Final note from the council meeting on the 7th, just a few events coming up. It's the
Yep.
legislative session, so
It
you
is.
have a few events going on.
We do. So we're really kicking it off here, not only our own work at the legislature on our two key items, 610 and the range expansion, but also there's various legislative events. So Housing for All is hosting a legislative breakfast on January 23rd. That's at St. Joseph the Worker in the morning. And then the Municipal Legislative Commission, which is really a group of represented by large suburbs in the metro area. Their legislative breakfast is January 25th in Plymouth, and so we'll be trying to make the rounds to all of those events.
Very good.
Yep.
So that wraps up the meeting from the 7th, again about an hour and a half long, and the next meeting will be a day later because of this next point as we get to some things happening around the city. We've got a holiday coming up, and
Yep.
the city observes that.
Yeah, so city offices will be closed on Monday, January 21st for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, and then our meeting does shift to that Tuesday that week.
Okay.
Yep.
State of the City event. We talked earlier about the council member and the mayor talking a little bit about the state of the city. And again, there's an event coming up. And just tell us a little bit. It's kind of in the planning stages still,
Yes.
but we do know a date.
Yeah, so we are kind of shifting gears this year with the North Hennepin Area Chamber of Commerce closing its doors. You know, in past years, the Chamber had always done kind of a collective State of the Cities event for its member cities, and so I think all the cities are kind of going off on their own this year to figure out what to do. So we're working on planning a Maple Grove State of the Cities event, looking at the morning of Thursday, February 28th. More details to come on that, but we are kind of stepping out on our own here on this one, and a lot of cities do it that way.
Right.
So we'll see more details to come on that, how that event shapes up.
Very good.
Yep.
We mentioned some of the things that happened at the beginning of the year with the council getting set on some commissions and being liaisons. There's also opportunity for some of those commissions. They need some help from the public. So you're
Yes.
looking for some people to step forward. What areas?
Yeah, so we have openings on our Arbor Committee and Transit Commission. Arbor Committee kind of works on issues revolving around the urban forest, public education awareness in Maple Grove. And then our transit system, our Transit Commission, these are folks, we're looking for folks who ride the bus here in Maple Grove, so transit riders, and they really provide feedback on our transit services here in Maple Grove. Information available on our website about applying for both of those.
All right. Go to a more fun and exciting item. How about the photo contest? Again, it ends in June, but
Right.
the city wants to make the note that now's the time to take some pictures. So if
Yep.
you're out there skating or doing some winter activities, you'd love those photos too.
Yeah, we want to capture, you know, all the seasons in Maple Grove, and so just a note when you're out and about these winter months. We've had some beautiful mornings where the frost has been collected on the trees and whatnot, so snap a few pictures and think about it as we get into the spring months for submission to the photo contest.
City website information about the photo contest as well. We'll talk about some events coming up. There might be great fall opportunities as well. Let's talk about the Transit Center. We mentioned this the last time, that there's a neat new service to help out the people that use that Transit Center and maybe get your car fixed.
Yeah, so when Steve's Auto World opened up off of Maple Grove Parkway, they had reached out to us. I think they have this in other cities where they have locations about providing what they're calling a concierge service,
Very good.
concierge for your car at our transit facility.
Yeah.
So basically you could leave your vehicle at the transit facility. You know, there'll be a drop box for keys and a process around that, and they'll come and take your vehicle and do what it is that you need done to it and bring it back for you. So at the end of the day, everything's ready to go. We did do an RFP, so we reached out to all the businesses in town here to see what their interest was, and Steve's Auto World was the one that responded formally to that request. So that service is going to be being rolled out here in the coming weeks.
Great idea.
Yep.
A couple fire notes to pass along for you. The first is fire safety class. They want you to start out your year thinking about fire safety. Tell us about this opportunity.
Yeah, so this is that fire safety class. I think we had a couple in the fall here, but hosted by Maple Grove Fire Prevention. It's in a 1-hour session, focuses on smoke alarms, residential fire escape plans, and then just general discussion and opportunity for Q&A. The dates coming up are January 30th, February 11th, February 20th, March 12th, March 28th. It's from 6 to 7 p.m. and they hold it out at Fire Station 4. So we do want you to sign up in advance. So if you can give a call up to City Hall or Shannon Burton with our Fire Prevention prevention program is the one to register with, and there's information available on the website about that.
Great opportunity. The next item is something you may think about more in the summertime, going out and having a nice fire in the backyard. This is recreational burns, and there are permits that need to be taken care of, and this is the time to do it.
Yeah. So, you know, the city has always required a permit for recreational burns, and this, you know, just includes your backyard bonfire or campfire type of deal.
Right.
So we've always required that, and it's just been kind of a one-time. It's been a one-time thing here for a number of years. Kind of shifting our process to do it annually. We now have it's an online process. There's no cost to the permit,
easy process.
And really the online process has kind of eased up our administrative process. I think previously it was kind of a paper, you know, keep track of process. And I think what this does is it really helps to make sure that everybody kind of understands the rules on an annual basis and gets them good information into their hands. So the goal is to make it as painless and seamless as possible for those who go to do so. And I think we've had over 150 folks just fill out the form quick, and they get a printout, and it comes with, you know, here's the regulations and questions if you need to give a call and that kind of a thing. So hopefully it'll be pretty pain-free for folks.
Good. So a great educational opportunity, and again, available on the city's website. This is very timely for this time of the year. A fall prevention class trying to keep us all up and standing here with ice and things around. And this is a partnership too, I understand.
Yeah, so Maple Grove Parks and Recreation is partnering with North Memorial to offer this fall prevention class. It's starting January 14th. It's a 7-week workshop designed for ages 65 plus, and they learn strategies and exercises that help prevent falls. And so you can register. It's actually, the registration is through North Memorial, so northmemorial.com/events, or 581-3740 is their phone number.
Very good.
Yep.
This next one, we had to look at it a couple times to figure out exactly what it was, because it's pizza and pool, but it's not the type of pool that most of you may think about. This is pool as in playing pool on a table.
Yes.
Fun event. Tell us how this worked.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a collaboration between our teen and our senior center for this new program, Pizza and Pool. And so it's intergenerational. We're trying to kind of tie the teens in with the seniors and make some connections there. So it's open to ages 11 through 18 and 55 plus. They learn to play pool, you know, billiards,
got it.
and learn new skills and eat pizza from 4 to 6 on Mondays starting January 14th. So registration's available on the website for that one.
All right, so that may be a few good pictures for the photo contest, but how about these next few? Let's hop down to the bottom real quick, just take them in date order. Polar Plunge. This is a chance where some interesting people decide to jump in a frozen lake, but it's for a good cause.
It is for a good cause. It's for Special Olympics. This is out at Fish Lake Park in Maple Grove, Saturday, February 2. Information to register. Folks can participate in this. It's plungeminnesota.org. And so our police department is a big supporter of this event, as well as the Maple Grove Lions Club. And so we have a lot of our officers. I know Chief Werner jumps in the lake every year. I keep getting pressured to do so, but I just I don't know yet. I'm not. I got to think about it a little bit longer.
Yes, understand that. All right, so that's coming up on the 2nd, and then a week later, Wonders of Winter. The event is back. Tell us how it's bigger and better than ever.
Yeah, so we gave this winter event a try around the time of the Super Bowl to give people a good reason to get out and kind of celebrate what was going on in the metro area. But it was really good response, positive response. If you remember that day, it was like a snow globe. I think we got maybe 6 inches of snow that day. It was a really kind of a fun day to be out there. Saturday, February 9th, 11 to 3 at Central Park. Lots of activities for all ages. So we have, of course, the skating loop will be up and open. We've got an ice sculpture, special ice performance by the Maple Grove Skating School. One thing I did last year that was really fun, I hadn't done before, is the fat bike tire.
Oh, yes, in the winter, fat tire bikes.
Fat tire bike demo. And that was really fun. And then there's kick sledding. Three Rivers Park District comes out and does some things with kick sledding, snowshoeing, Nordic walking. Lions Club supports, sponsors the wagon rides around, and then there's bonfires and all kinds of things. So it's really a fun family day, free, you know, come on out, bring the kids. There's something for every age out there.
Saturday, February 9th, 11 to 3 at Central Park.
Yes.
And that's it for the program today. Thank you very much for the information, the preview of events coming up. Again, you might need to recap this by going to the website, so let's get you there right now. maplegrovemn.gov, the place to find out about all the things happening, those burn permits and some of the things with the city, and then some of these great community events are listed there as well. As Heidi mentioned, the next meeting is on Tuesday, January 22nd because of the holiday on that Monday, 7:30 at the Government Center. Phone number at the bottom of the screen and viewer response line 533-1710. Questions or comments about the program? We would love to hear them. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks again for joining us.